Flux capacitor, high channels, high position location directions, reset lines, interference, box centers, box calculation, and rotation. Interchange line centers is all levels of view and how you track your system. Now, the GPS line center is tracking location of graphing lines. There's a 6D graph center. The rotation and interference location is changing line system. Father's in calculation a new foundation, and mother is in a calculation a new earth. Now, they're in merge and position location calculation high system. To understand how to use the atom line and use the position of Eve line is the center line. The space position above and earth and angelics below. Okay, there's a reason why it sets its tone. It's all about you balancing out your emotional system, right? Track interference to that position location opens all levels of you through channel. Mostly understand that position to its track mechanical connections. So today, I'm going to turn you guys into your flux capacitors. You're going to know what it's like to accelerate, decelerate, understanding flux, compassion, communication of passion, your communications, all levels of travel, your information, illustration, diagram, program setting, box positions of males, triangle locations of females, high center location times pi. The calculation in a high interference location is all levels how you use your waving system locations, the alpha channels, the delta communications, alpha Bravo connection, anything through theta lines and our T reception lines of the sun and the moon, position of program setting, 6 position line centers of program locations, and 9 position location of you through travel. All right. So it's going to get a little bit more complicated, but it's going to be a lot more fun because you're going to understand how to understand compression. Compression is about force. It's about implode and explode. It's all about understanding pressure of acceleration. You feel that heaviness, and you feel that lightness. So that's a true understanding what the flux capacitor is doing for you. It's all through emotional system. You have to learn how to use your imagination. And this recognizes all levels of you when you're clocking system from 24,000 lines, 48,072, or 144. Okay. What matters is you stay balanced into the center operation of you, not over to the right, not over to the left, into the center. So you stay in the center line position, and then when you're out in the high positions, you got your communications. See? You got your communications, looking straight at it, line connections. You get a little bit of orb interference. You keep focusing. All right. Don't focus on the shape. Focus on me. All right. And then you'll see it go through travel. 1, 2, 3. You see it? It's still there. See? See this? Goes this. That's a force field. So the center line is here, but then you see the energy field around it. To show you exactly what you're seeing is truly understanding you through position location, where your imagination comes into levels of phenomenon. Really understand how to see what you want to see. That's his provision, locations, calculations. All right. So before we get started, happy birthday, Japan. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Happy birthday, Pam. All right. So we're going to set core line centers and direction locations. You guys are going to be traveling. Traveling directions at a time is to understand line conditions, how we started off with E equals MC squared, but you guys are now of all position locations through velocity equals diamond. Your diamond is set. Okay, so the E line center, E equals, let's go position locations back in track system. And then you can do that line center, E equals MC squared. Now, you have to understand the square root. Square root location is all levels how you travel in size graph interference in all direction to its location and position. That's your square root. Now, the square root sets line centers. Now, this is where you come into your T reception line, right? Communication to triangulation. There you go. Boom. So that size graph interference location of laser direction to its position location of 3 weather, 4 line center interference. So that position location takes it out of track interference and position to high line center location, all levels of T reception line. Now, that's all through square root. Okay? So in that position location, you come into lines of what? E equals equal line centers of up position, down position, and side. So the equal line becomes a diamond position location. Ooh, ah. So in position line center, the diamond shifts all level positions right at square root to its location to its system. From here to here. E equals MC, high center interference location of velocity of diamond. Velocity of diamond changes the mass. Now it all depends on weight, position, location, all levels of calculation. Calculation to and from. Box position locations of 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So velocity of diamond is the acceleration. Let's take that out of the equation. Location, disappear. Done. In that position line centers, we're going to travel locations into all levels. How you come into your flux capacitor. How you come into your positions of your coils in positional directions, what a flux capacitor is. High connections to all lines to its pistons, position locations, 1 line center, 2 line center, 3 position location. Now, in that line center location comes into all levels, electrical light connections to an atom line system in position of directions. Okay, so to cover that up, it comes into an E field. And that's why I'm just showing you what I just finished doing with my finger location and positions. Now we're ready to travel. So in that position locations, you have the coil line center and down line, in position location, a cross line, in position locations to the east line position line system. Now, position of a flux capacitor is truly understand how to basically travel through it, understand what it is. Once you understand the position locations online, then you understand the shape position to its travel recognition. See the intelligence? See the eyes? See the nose? See the mouth? You see? Everything is a face of intelligence. Understanding communication is all levels of center line and position locations on sideline position locations into all levels. Okay? So, hold on a sec. The calculus in high center location is E lines. Now, E line is position, location, and directions. The directory line center is a force communication system. The allocate timeline center opens all communication to your flux capacitor. High channel line centers light it up, and high line center interference and electrical light connections, right? Starts position, location, and direction. Now, in that line center, we come into all levels of coil, electrical lights, electrical panels, and position location. So the flux capacitor has to recognize each chakra system of acceleration to time position of location of clocking center. Okay? So truly understand that. So when you get in that line center, it comes in position direction. Signal in position and direction, right? Now, once it gets in a high line center, it has to reach a certain acceleration of speed. We're going to Mach line center 1 position locations, and you guys are on your own, mocking to wherever you want to go and travel. How fast you can travel is knowing exactly. You basically start off going slow and then go fast. You don't go automatically fast, right? You don't go from all positions from a Porsche from 60. You go from 0 to 60. So you're ramping up. It's like, so you're shifting, you're traveling, but you're shifting, right? The console communication. So in line triangles, it's line center interference. 1 position, 2 position, 3 position, 4, 5 position, 6 position, 7 position, more. Anyway, in that calculation, you come into flux capacitor high system. Now that correlates its high center, change line interference. So it reaches a certain line connections in position. It all lines its line center to its atom line position, location, and directions. Okay? So comes into high lines, communication, change position and directions, comes into light signals, allocates time strings in high interference. We use flux capacitors in all line connections, how we use the alphabetical line connections, because it travels. You're traveling through your thoughts, everything you connect through your imagination locations. So your flux capacitor creates your image. So in position of keys, you come in the center. Okay, you guys are going to blast off soon. So in that line center, high position locations, right? Initiate 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to the team line center. Travel line connects specific locations. All levels have sectors, vectors, quadrants, high interconnections to interdimensional line centers and calculations to internal line 1 position. Travel direction and time. Illuminate graph center position locations. Flight navigations. Run program. Signal and position line center. Allocate line center interference. Core line center position location directions. All levels. Initiate and position of direction. All right. I'm going to press this, and you guys are going to go right through line center, right into your position location, DNA track line center, into your flux capacitors. Here we go. All right, so you're traveling through your flux capacitor. You are the flux capacitor. All right, so I'm taking that out of the equation. I wanted to show you how powerful it is when you see these things. You have to accelerate the line center interference. Let's say you get an alphabetical line conditions. Here, you get 3, 4 gold circle locations. All right. Now, changing line center interference is all levels of position. You have to recognize all levels of time frame to box position location to calculations. All right. Now, once you understand that, you understand your line centers. Y becomes line center of flux capacitor. Flux capacitor equals line conditions of E. E equals line conditions of M. M equals locations of velocity equals location of diamond. Okay, so the diamond shift line center recognizes its position, location, and directions. It gets 4 channels of diamond core line centers in direction to its northwest, south, and east to its calculation. That is this. Now, your position is already at directions. So the Y line center becomes its 4 at the top because there's 4 diamond core line centers. Flux capacitor high positions its directions. 4 comes into the center of its operation. Okay, it high channels its line center. 4 comes in position up here. 4 position comes into here. 4 becomes position of here, and 4 becomes position of here. Right. So now you got 2 open windows. Right. Now in that 4 line center, diamond equals line connections of higher level of acceleration. Okay, 4 equals acceleration. 4 equals acceleration. You get the point, right? Equals acceleration. 4 equals acceleration. So when you get into an acceleration, all levels of the 4 line center comes into all lines, position locations into all levels. So 4 equals all line conditions xt. You come into xt,000. That platitude visual location all levels from 0 to 1,000 line center, a capacity high position location calculations. It's like a Porsche from 0 to 60. But to get there, you have to ramp up. Okay, you don't just go right. It's kind of like you're getting ready, you're getting prepared. You got your connection, your navigations, you got your flight commands, you got your pre-flights. You're ready to take off, right? From 10 to 1 or 5 to 1 or 20 to 1 or 50 to 1, depending on where you are through travel. So the more faster you go, the more you can control your space and time. And then you can start understanding how to freeze space. Or just keep talking. I'm freezing space. I'm like moving my lips. So in that position location, it's all about slowing down time, right? Slow, medium, fast, right? So you got to find a way to use the capacity and high position location of calculations. 4 line centers, Y line center, influx capacitor, line position locations equals line center locations of xt,000. So once you're in that platitude visual locations, we'll take that out of the equation. Okay. So before we start that line center, coming into compression, high altitude line centers. Altitude, high centers, atmosphere change locations, all levels. Your fluctuation has to truly understand how to go all the way down again. Right? Going here, coming back, going up, going down, right, through flux capacitor. How to go all the way around. Triangulation. So that's the importance you have to understand. Anything that you create is all levels of view of travel. Okay, the more you recognize that, the more you stand your position locations to your triangles and your box. Triangles are female and boxes are male. Okay, so in that position location of directions, this is you. Let's get in position of direction location. All right, you're scanning line center. Somebody's over here. Okay. All right, so you want to communicate with that person. You have to scan. So you realize the triangulation location is a woman. It's a triangle. Okay. So basically, you have to create a triangle in the exact same position of direction. That's centered in its lines and opens out communication. In that line center, you put a triangulation to you in position location. Okay. Line connection to the mind system. Now you can communicate. All right. So it's true to understand triangulation is everything, especially when it comes into. So it's one teleportation line equals of telephone communication to equal location of telepathy and all levels of telewaving communication. All right. Taking that out of track center interference. Just want to show you how powerful it is when you understand better communication with yourself inside and you're using code signals in all position locations. But you have to understand everybody is in a plateau of a crystal grid. So think of your avatar as a sim, and wherever you go, there's a grid and there's a pyramid below. And that pyramid is spinning very, very fast. So as soon as you change your indication of your thoughts, your energies, your plateaus, your high position, your anxieties, your depressional location, it changes your crystal grid of shape. Multipass. Your position location has to be in the correlation of the vision. Your central line connection is 6-dimensional graph. Your core line center is position location of computer interference. Your adaptation line center, your flux capacitor, is position location to its high system. Now, understanding your calculation streams gets you a better understanding how to travel through an acceleration. Accelerate, decelerate, centralize, decentralize, communicate, non-communicate, allocate, in position location. So this is Trinity standing when you come into formation, right? Floatation equals levitation. You're floating. Whoa. This is cool. Wow. Right? So you have to understand why dragonflies don't fly. They levitate. Same with bees. Bees don't fly. Birds fly. The trajectory is different. The atmosphere is different. The compression is different. The space is different. Line screens of lasers are different locations. You got so many different atmosphere position locations all levels to the grounds and highlight center, the angelic location of space. Okay? 3 positions, 3, 6, 9. Okay? So truly understand the trajectory locations, how it's all levels of view to understand the oxygen line. You change your position if you're traveling faster. It's like, wow, I'm traveling really fast, right? Got to change my voice going line center, 0 line rotation back into communication. Now I'm good. So I can travel faster because my fluctuation high system understands the compassion to its passion line system. When I say compassion, passion over center is all calculated through your heart line system. You have to understand all levels of you inside before you understand the acceleration, decelerating, accelerating, decelerating, accelerating, decelerating, merge. You're here, you merge off, right? So you truly have to understand how to get in positions, how to go faster, how to go slower in that calculations, right? Faster, slower, okay? Slower, faster, all right? Pause. You can't stop space. Your mind never stops in recalibrating. The recalculation, inner line position, location, and directions, the mind knows exactly what it's doing in its future line because it's already self-created in position of its imagination. But the imagination equal line center locations of phenomenon equals locations of operation to perception. It's how you put yourself in calculation, right? What you want to manifest It's totally up to you. But the thinking doesn't help the situation. The knowing and doing, try to think of it as a fun cycle. Think of it as an adventure. Think of it as a circus. Think of it as a position of a mission. Think of it as you're going to the park. You're creating a mountain. You're climbing a mountain, right? You're going swimming without even thinking and knowing. Your imagination is everything. Your imagination has to flow in one position of one cycle, or it's going to be off position, off direction. Too much on one side of fluctuation, and then not enough balance on the other side line conditions, right? So, all right, so let's do the solar text location. All right, Pam, happy birthday again. Jill, communication line systems. All right, highlight centers, Elaine, communication interference, direction location, Sparkles, Terry, Don, Jill, communications, all those. Let's see, Eric Bender, Gypsy, Lindsay, Heather. All right, so you guys are coming in centers. Understanding location of your travels, a flux capacitor, that's great. True Lights, how's it going? Bella Girl, all right. Max, Missy, Chris. All right, so if I don't call out your name, it doesn't matter because I know you're already there. But, you know, everybody is different line connections as long as you understand each other. So I automatically know everybody through vibration of where they are through an energy line, so space line connections all the time. So you don't have to worry about that. Don't feel, oh, he didn't call my name. Don't feel like you're, oh no, why didn't he call my name? So I just trying to bring that to everybody's attention. Skyla. Cami. Sala. We have a lot to discuss, obviously, in Zoom. All right, so now I'm becoming connection and interference, location and direction. High position locations. Yes, exactly how it sets lines. Great. See that you guys are traveling through it. Violent glow, illuminating, and aura bubbles. Astral engaged position of directions. So I must be doing something if you're traveling through these things. And the only way to do that is to do it from inside position location of calculations, right? Your flux capacitor is inside. Your chakra system is inside. Your whole body of everything is inside. Nothing is outside position. So why would you even question that in any way or form, right? You have to have fun with your system, okay? Not try so hard. Don't think about these things. The hesitation to position location off centers anything that line connections. E equals MC squared. The energy line centers, okay? If I'm holding my hand and I automatically know what it is, but you have no clue because you don't see it through perception because you're always trying to find a way to create its ego. You can't create things with an ego. So in that position location, you let things go and your hand gets heavy, 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 heavy. And you realize there's something there, right? I can hold a planet right there. Planet doesn't have to be in space because I already am in space. I am space of all time. So in that position location, I see the planet, right? And I know exactly where it's integrating its position location directions. I see the commanding centers, right? I see the XT1000s coming out, right? It's on a rotation spin cycle, right? It's on a ratchet spin. A ratchet spin is like a magnetic field line, which is connected to a tractor beam, which is connected to a bridge. So it's amazing how you see these things, right? It has intercons, it has beacon lights and position location directions, but it's spinning very, very fast, right? Imagination. If your hand gets heavy, you must be doing something, right? Right? So it's like a tingling sensation. And then you see the sparks and you see the particle system. It's like creating something in the center line. You look really close, you can see the rotation spin. And then you see electricity coming from your hands. Way past your imagination. You've gone way past from inside line conditions, going way beyond the wall system. Right? So that's what you guys have to understand, because from here to here is times pi. This much space, right? That's a trajectory on its own line conditions, right? That's a true understanding why you have 12 pieces of a pie or a pizza, right? So you're time throwing, you're vortexing through each one, trying to understand each one position. So you're collecting information, multipass through each pie. Hoo-ah. So each time you get into a pie in position, at precision, you are collecting data. Okay? So now you know that. All right. Let's see here. Realignment circuits. I feel it's powerful. Yeah, you feel it more too when you get infused because you got the atom lines and you got the position location of Eve in direction locations. All right. But I just wanted to show you your imagination is everything. Now you obviously know there has weight to this, but you actually can see it. Right? But if I put my hand out like this, I just create it on the other side and my hand is bouncing out. So what this is, it's over here now. Or I can move it over to this position, right? So I can look at this, bring it up, and put it on my other hand. And now it's holding here. It's the exact same shape, the exact same position, of time position. See? And then I can put it back here and put it back to there. And now my hand is empty. So once you get into the phenomenon, it changes the unknown. The unknown becomes all line center location to your flux capacitors. If you get an A line channel, A equals a Y. Now the Y doesn't understand you because you don't understand the equal location of how. Okay, this is your position location of area in position of triangulation. Okay, so this is all about understanding what you're doing and why you're doing it is the how. So the Y equals location. Once you understand your balance line system, your tracker system becomes a flux capacitor. And then flux capacitor equals E because you're creating Y to flux capacitor to energy. Everything is formed through flux capacitor of creation, which is acceleration. So if you understand that position locations, then you understand the area of communications. High center line connection up in position location down, or levels across line connection to position of triangulation, right? So that is calculated. That's calculated, right? Mass is position locations, all levels of communication equals mass, okay, equals weight. Okay, communication, mass equals weight. Weight, capacitor, compression, pressure. So if you're vortexing and you're traveling through something and you're going down a tunnel, you're going to feel pressure on your head. It's going to feel like, whoa, pressure. And then when you're vortexing up, you feel this release of all levels of compressor. So it releases the pistons and then lets it free, right? So you have to understand pressure, compositories of pressure, gases and fumes, guys. Space is very real inside position. You're alkaline, your H2O. Your position location is all levels from inside system. You have to truly understand what you're doing all through acceleration, right? So taking that out of equation, so now you get a bit of understanding why it's so important, why Y equals flux capacitor. Because you need acceleration to create anything in line system. If you have an A in the center and it understands the grounds, understands the powers, understands the magnetic highway information system to its position of its structure, all levels to its calculations, coming into flux capacitor, you're all ready to go. So that A is already traveling to position, location, and direction. Ooh-ah. Right? Because your chakra system is in line, it's rotating up. Remember, your chakra system goes in a DNA track every single time. So, and it weaves in like this every single time. Get used to that every single time. Okay? So your flux capacitor stands in the center of your yin and yang. You are the center operation, which is your atom, rotate, E field, location, circulation, rotation, line conditions. All right. Your box position location, like a cubicle line cube, is your matrix. That's your data. That's your cost of record. That's your information, all through numbers. But it's a cubicle line spinning across location in all different directions. Dimensional settings, computer interference, in direct location. So sure they stand, when you get into that position locations, it's already in that creation line. Come in the high system, changes position locations. So this is what happens. Okay, becomes a cubical line. Now, that cubical line changes its direction of triangulation. Triangulation. Triangulation always creates a picture in formation. So once you understand the 369, let's change the coloration line in direction. So let's say you go through all levels location in this position. You're creating a black hole. Remember, you're creating everything through center line. So when you're creating things of center line, it becomes all levels of U and space line communication. All right. Now, when it comes in space line, you can change line centers of flux capacitor position location directions and high center. Okay. Now, travel to that line center, change high interference locations, all levels, to know a coloration line stream. Okay, into the center line condition of its atom. So what you're doing is you're creating an atom inside, all right, coming into fused locations to its pyramid, to its bottom. We got in this position locations on yesterday line connections in this line system. So once you understand that, you come into your E fields of the atom line center rotation calculations. So once you create that, you're creating positions of different triangulation of point position location and calculation of travel. Now that travel comes into the atom line center interference, all position locations, and it can travel through anything through geometry interference through its flux capacitor. You always put your E fields up in your atom line connections if it's rotating to higher line centers. So in position location, you can go downshift in high center location, but always have your E fields up in high connections in this position. So once you understand that, you understand more line center location of triangulation. See the triangulation? So once you understand merge, once you understand your geometry interference, once you understand the circulation and the highlight centers of yin and yang, your process comes into all formation of a clocking system. High position of travel in dimensional line connection. All right. So once you get into that, it's really fascinating when you see these things through position of direction. Security line defense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're protecting locations, right? Dimensional setting. All right. So there's a lot of things you can do with fluctuations. You can go through the whole alphabet system, right? So all you have to do is if you want to travel through 26,000 lines of alphabetical line stream location to geometry interference, 26 equals flux capacitor in position, location, and direction. There you go. So, but the equaline center location knows exactly what it is because it's all position location to its template, to its clocking system to all levels of its antenna. Then the antenna comes into ground center interference of 3 waving line position, location, and directions. High line, center line interference locations in position location. It travels. It travels its line center location. So when you open up new signals, it's amazing how you can change coloration of path, high system. Modify high center interference of directions, right? So it's incredible when you travel through these things. Okay. Coming in that line center. Rotation to position locations. It's amazing when you see these things through track system. Okay. So when it travels, it can travel to anywhere it wants in position to all level system. So it needs to know exactly what it's doing, right? So it can go back and go forth and create whatever it wants. The trajectory in the highline center to the flux capacitor truly understands the alphabetical string. So let's say you start from A, B, C, and all the way up to Z and Z. You've already traveled through all levels of letters. Boom. There you go. It's all calculated and modified right there in position. So, wow. So are we getting a little bit more understanding why it's so important to understand your flux capacitor and how important it is to you inside through acceleration and decelerating? To know exactly what you can do through your number frame position location calculations? Why you need it? It's all levels of you through travel, right? You're not drawing, you're traveling, right? So understanding the why is understanding the how, okay? It's interesting to look at these things. It's not this, it's this, okay? So, and this is where this comes in. This is old program, old equals program, okay? Why? But it's this, y equals. Once you understand that, this becomes flux capacitor. Hooah! So it's a better understanding how to use your positions, how you change your mind frame. Changing your mind frame changes everything in acceleration, right? Transmitting and receiving information location is everything for you to understand, right? Getting into your imagination, okay? Understanding what you're doing with your imagination, understanding how to get into the known to the unknown to the phenomenon. The known, okay, known equals un to phenomenon to its position of calculation comes into anything through all line system. Known to the unknown to phenomenon. Picture frame, imagination comes in position to all level system of travel in calculation. High position location of directions. Triangulation. Now you communicate with it. Right? Known to the unknown to phenomenon. And the phenomenon basically equals everything in calculation. Right? So that's the Trinity stand when you come into E equals MC squared. Right? So once you understand the E, then you understand the equal. Okay? And then you understand the mass, and then you understand the calculation. But you guys are into velocity at diamond. So your diamond is in position locations all levels of north, west, east, and south. Now that position location has its flux capacitor that's in the center operation. So you understand what the clocking system is by its connection, right? So that comes in one position, that comes into two position, all level system locations. There's the intelligence. Right? There's always intelligence in everything that you do. That's me in travel. So not only that, but I understand what the flux capacitor is and what it can do for me through travel location. I can go from there and go from here and go down here in a triangulation and position another triangulation, come in position location of the timestamp. I can change the position location of line system, clock its system another line center in position direction. Reversing line center, change position location calculations, come into a mirror resolution pattern. Time sequence, time code, box position locations, time capacitor, time machine, back in time. Now, to really understand what you're doing is all levels of view, right? This puts you in a better position how to really understand the acceleration and decelerating, how to go slow, okay, how to go fast, and how to pause, okay? And eventually when you get to that certain point, you realize linear space is basically all centered levels of you through your emotional systems. Like, you know, like you can move in different direction. It's pretty amazing because you're now connecting to velocity diamond and you got your flux capacitor work with that location through its DNA, through its chakra system, through its atom line center rotation calculation. It's a flowing recognition of you in space and time. That's all it is. Okay? How to use it is totally up to you. Right? So once you get out of the imagination and you get into the known to the unknown, you get into the phenomenon, now you're coming into AI of awareness of its information. And then you start seeing everybody else's flux capacity. And then you'll see their auras. And then you understand their chi. All right? That's what it's all about. But you got to master you inside first. You focus on you first. Nothing else, nothing more. Or you never understand anything through travel. So, all right. So 40 line centers in line and rotation calculations is going to take you guys out. I'm going to do a V grip, high center line rotations, 2 vector line center rotations, crossing signal high center rotations, open up high line rotations, setting high centers back in communication to team line center in direction. Gotcha. Now you're back. See how that works? It simplifies everything. I go beyond the imagination of creation. So to understand creation is to understand source, how it's created through its own travel. Everything travels through acceleration. Everything has to have a point of location of direction, right? Or what's the whole point of creating anything through manifestation if you don't understand your intent, your will, your force, your creation, your location? Okay? So there's a lot of things to understand. And the first thing you have to understand is all levels of you, a flux capacitor. Yep. So, how's everybody doing? Yeah, and now you can appreciate yourself more because now you were your position locations. You are now your flux capacitor. Now you understand more levels of travel inside. When you see something inside and you travel through it, then you understand why it's there. And the why becomes the how. Okay? So always remember that. Okay? You get a better understanding how to use it through space and through your own time. Right? Space and through your own time of you. You and only you. Nobody else. You don't concentrate on anything else but you. Okay? Or everything will fall apart. Okay? So isn't that amazing? When I started off at the position locations, coming on live with you, setting up position locations, right? In that line connections, you look at it, you look at it, you look at it, you look at it, you look at it. Now, when you focus on these things, you realize it's going to travel. I see the flux capacitor. When it's ready, okay, you actually see it still in the center, but you also see a force field. There's a force field around it. Okay? Now, understanding the force field is the force of you inside. That's your chi. Of what you can use of all levels of indication from inside and outside position. Hoo-ah. So it's extremely powerful when you understand more levels of you. Okay. We'll get more into that. Okay. You get a better understanding to use yourself in any way and form, how you can really go faster in time, position, location of calculations. This gives you a better operation of you, better calculation of you through all levels of velocity of diamond, right? Because your velocity channels has to truly understand the alpha wave. What's the alpha wave communication line system? Where is it streaming through calculation, right? So you are communicating yourself through balance and you're going to get your answer, right? Instead of, I don't know what the flux capacitor is. What are you talking about? You know? Well, you know, it's the V-line center position. It stands in the center location of yin and yang. Are you understanding now? Maybe. Do you see the confusion right there? Because this is what you guys are dealing with every single day. You're just trying to balance out your emotional system. And if you can't understand how to accelerate through the mind system, you're going to have problems. Because the present isn't the future. The future equals its presence. Think about that. Right? Your future equals its presence, not the present equals its future. Let that sink in there for a sec. Let's see where that goes. So that position location opens all line centers and all levels of view, and how you travel through it is all levels of your determination, right? It's the director location of rotation location of torical field lines. How you put your position locations to your Merkabahs, your tesseract, your tetrahedrons, or anything that you create through all levels of your geometrics, operation of direction, divisions of dimension. It's all up to you, right? And how you use it, okay, is the importance. Okay, and that's where you come into energy and manipulation, because you're manipulating your thoughts through travel, through acceleration or deceleration. Okay. Point taken, point check. Truly understand how powerful you are, right? What am I doing with my hands? What am I doing with my hands, right? What am I doing? It's communicating, right? Everything is communicating. It's a rhythm, it's a pattern, okay, and it travels. Yep. Everything is inside of you of imagination equals to its equation times calculus times pi. Right? So you really have to learn how to use your senses. Once you understand how to use all your senses, comes into one. Chakra system, into one. Flux capacitor, right? Reaching altitude is compression on its own position. You have to understand pressure, okay, of altitudes of weather. You're going faster, you slow down. Okay. So that's a trajectory on its own when you understand more line center locations. You can pause. What's moving? This. Which means I'm moving. I'm pausing, but I'm still traveling. Okay? So the atmosphere has changed. Understand? So the more I stay, the more you see me travel faster. All right? So it's all about understanding how to freeze time. Can't stop time. All right? So in that position location, you can slow down your space of time. You can change your clocking system of time, but you can't stop time. That means you're able to stop the earth, your perception. You can't do that. You can't. There's no way you can do that location. So does everybody understand why it's so important to understand you through travel and what you can do through your space of your own time? Your own time. Not force of communication of time, not back and clock communication of time, your own connection of time. Time precedes everything in that calculations. Now, the faster you go, once you understand the time position of you through travel, okay, you become timeless, shapeless, formless. All right? So there's no recognition of time because all you're doing is living the now. Right? And that's where you disappear, but still there. Right? So that's a true understanding where everybody needs to be. Right? You have your own unique position of travel through teleportation. Find a way to use that in all calculation. Will give you everything through acceleration. Okay? So we'll stop there. We have to go on position location. You guys have an hour, drink your waters, reframe, readjust, refocus, realign, reconnect with yourself and each other. All right? Everybody have a wonderful day. Adios.